Another statistic here that was done in 2006, 1 in 7 children, that's 13%, received sexual solicitation or were approached within the last year. 1 in 3 children had an unwanted exposure to pictures of naked people or people having sex. 1 in 11 children was threatened or harassed. 1 in 25 children received aggressive sexual solicitation. And a solicitor here is a person who asks to meet, a child somewhere. They call them, via the telephone or send them a regular email, and they offer them money and gifts. So what are the threats and risks? We're going to go quickly, I'm going to try to go quickly over them. I wish we had a lot more time to go in depth about those, because I believe those are very important and we all need to be aware of them. Meeting someone online, that's the first risk and threat, and it is very important and very dangerous. Just imagine, if you have a child that turns up missing or physically abused as a result of the online contact. And there are many cases where that happened. And you know what the dangerous part about this? It's not someone breaking into your house and grabbing your children and stealing them and kidnapping them. It is not about someone killing your child, and your child doesn't know about it. This happens often when child go voluntarily at their will. They go and meet some person online, and eventually they might end up just leaving their parents' house and following that person. And usually the consequences are not good. Majority of the victims, there were some studies that showed the majority of the victims are over 15 are females. It doesn't mean that male children are not, does not fall into this. There are a lot of male children, and we're going to see some examples who have been victims of cyber threats. Now, let's look at this girl. Her name is Casey Rain. She was 13 years old, good student, member of the school band, and she liked going to the online. Her father was a police officer, and they lived in a small, safe town. So this lady started going online, and she met this boy, okay? He was 18 years old. They met at a Christian or religious chat room for teens. And she was ready, and if we go to the next one, this is who she was actually talking to. She was not talking to that person, okay? Whoops. We're going too far. All right, so, you can see a big difference, all right? So, she has been talking to him. Thinking that he was 18, she was revealing all kind of information about herself, her family, her address, her, everything. And this guy was smart enough. He had the tricks to get her to tell him everything. He would, try to relate to her stories and, listen to her as she was speaking and being the nice person that, that the teen would like to kind of share their experiences with and tell them about their problems and everything. So she trusted them with everything. And what happened is he knew that her parents are going to be out one day. He knew that she was going to be alone at the one particular day. And he came to her house and sexually abused her, and then he killed her. So this is an example of how dangerous the cyber world can be. And this is a typical girl. She was, I told you the description of her. She had all the things that where you would think, that's never going to happen to her. Okay. So, that was one thing. Another issue here with the cyberspace is the loss of privacy. Disclosing the address, telephone number, or even your name can put you in jeopardy, can put you in a big risk if you don't know who you're dealing with. Information about your family members, that's something we need to be aware of. Like, you know, if we're sharing our family members' information with others, that could be dangerous as well. And sometimes there are companies or organizations that come and collect information about children. They use it for marketing and other fundraising activities. That could be dangerous as well. We try to, like, you know, stay away from giving our information to anybody. Like, you know, if we don't know them, don't give your information. Your information are valuable, and that's what we need to teach our kids. Like, you know, every piece of information that reveals something personal about you can lead to a big risk to you and your family as well. There is a nice video here I wanted to show you. This time, but we're not going to go over it, like, you know, because of the time. It basically shows some people, like, you know, demonstrating to you how they went to a chat room, and from just the name or the nickname of the person in the chat room, she was a lady like 13 years old, within 20 minutes, they were able to find a lot of information about her, her family, where she lives, how old she is, what her hobbies are. It was amazing. I mean, if we have time, like, you know, at the end, or maybe if someone else said they can view that later on. So I'll move on here. Oh. That's very hard to make. I'll do my best. Okay. They're telling me I only have 2 minutes. I don't think you can make it only 2 minutes. Cyberbullying. This is the term I told you about. This is when a child or a teen is threatened or harassed, humiliated, embarrassed, or otherwise targeted by another child or teen. This is a very important term because I know a lot of Yemeni kids, like, you know, when you go to their chat rooms, like, you know, you will see them swearing, like, saying, threatening, and saying all these bad things. Those type of things can lead to dangerous consequences. This boy here and that lady at the top, the young lady, they committed suicide because of this. This lady, like, you know, the old lady, what she did is she was pretended to be 15 years old and a boy, and she was talking to this girl, and then, like, she made her, like, you know, love her, and then at the end she started telling her bad things. She told her, like, you know, you don't like things like you don't deserve to live, you are a bad person, all those bad things, and she started to feel bad about her because her self-esteem was low, and that caused her to commit suicide. File sharing is a very dangerous thing. If you share files with other people, like, you know, through some of the programs like Gaza or LimeWire, that could lead to dangerous consequences as well. And I'll tell you why. There's a computer security risk. You might get a virus from the other person's computer. You might get a, like, you know, spyware that can collect information from your computer, such as could be like your tax returns information, like, you know, your bank accounts, things like that. There's also, like, you know, the kid's access to pornography. If the kid is sharing files with other kid, the other kid might have some, like, you know, some bad files on their, like, you know, that have pornography on them, and they might be sharing those. Copyright law. This is very important. We are in the U.S. Copyright law is a very serious crime, and if the FBI, like, you know, have been going so hard with this, if the FBI, like, you know, finds out that, like, you know, a certain computer or certain, like, you know, are downloading a lot of, like, you know, copyrighted music, video games, movies, whatever, you might get in big trouble. I mean, the computer can be confiscated and you can be taken to court for this. Privacy is an important thing. We talked about that, so I'm going to skip that. And there's the risk of the inappropriate materials. It could be, like, you know, it could range from sex to drugs, like, you know, to like, you know, terrorist attacks and things like that. All these bad things, like, you know, that children, like, you know, could be exposed to. Another video I'm going to skip. If you read it online, is it true? Okay, I mean, we know, like, you know, anybody can go online and post anything, right? We are aware of that, right? So we need to make sure that the children have a good judgment, that, like, you know, when they read something, that they verify the sources of what they're reading. We talked about the drugs. Social networking is a big thing. You know, we have a lot of kids that go into a social network, and it's very odd to find a child today that doesn't have Facebook or MySpace account. It's very odd. Those would be considered exceptions today, and that's very serious. I mean, there are some good things about Facebook and those social networks. I believe Dr. Shamiri talked about some of the benefits on there, but there are a lot of risks. And we need to teach our children how to be careful with those social networks and know who they're dealing with and not share a lot of information with them. Another video we're going to skip. Visit our websites. There are two basic dangers associated with websites. Children might come across materials that are sexual, hateful, violent, inappropriate, or websites invite visitors to enter information about themselves. Okay, well, yeah. I'll try my best. Do you guys want to continue? I don't know. Is this something interesting to you? I don't know. Okay, all right. Give me 5 minutes, okay? All right. Chat rooms. This is just an example of a chat room. This is where a lot of people meet and share a lot of personal information. There's a lot of risk that is associated with sharing a lot of personal information with that. Instant messaging as well. That's the description of what instant messaging. Another video we're going to skip. Email is another risk and threat for our kids. And the two dangers that come with the email is someone tried to communicate with you. They could be, sending you viruses, linked to fishy websites, these websites that could look like, for example, a real bank or and you go and enter your data into them, and they collect your information. You think that you're using a valid website, but at the same time, there are those criminals that create those fishy websites that look exactly the same as a different bank website. That has happened with several popular banks like Chase and Bank of America. Another danger is the email. Is when your kids send information, we need to make sure that the kids are aware of the dangers behind that. All right. Let me see here. The signs of risk. So what are the signs? What are the things you need to look for? As far as the signs for risk. If your child spends a large amount of time online at night, that should raise a question mark. If you find pornography in your child's computer, that should raise a question mark. If your child receives phone calls from men you don't know, that's another question mark. If your child receives mail, gifts, packages from someone you don't know, another question mark. Your child turns the computer monitor off quickly or changes the screen monitor as soon as he sees you, that's another question mark. Your child becomes withdrawn from the family and isolated, that's something we need to be aware of. Your child is using an online account belonging to someone else, that's also another question mark. So who's responsible? Who's responsible for protecting our children? Parents in the first place. Parents in the first place need to stay in close touch with their kids. Teachers, community groups, and then kids and teens need to learn about their responsibilities as well. What is the most parent concern I have heard with the Yemeni community? I wrote an article about this in the Yemeni American News before, and some of the concerns that we raise is most of the Yemeni parents, they don't know anything about the internet. They don't even know how to type their names on the computer. That's true, okay? But if you are a parent that cares about his or her child, you're going to take some actions. And some of the actions that you need to take is get involved by spending time with your child. Take it as an opportunity to learn, from the child. Come to them and say, son or daughter, can you show me, how to, can you, teach me how to use the internet, or, just get involved, be his or her friend. That's one thing, that's something you could do. Take a classroom, and also take advice or consultations. I'll be done.